And there are some other economic legislations which are pending. I think we'll have our agenda quite full of economic legislations and other bills as far as the second part of the session also is concerned.
The Finance Minister calls it a historic session. 11 bills cleared by Parliament as it's adjourned for a break. The Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Bill gets the Parliament's nod after much back and forth. Mines will now be allotted only via the auction route, and companies operating current mines will have to fork out a higher sum for the District Mineral Fund.
The country has set a new paradigm of transparency and honesty.
Rajya Sabha's approval for the coal bill legalizes the recently conducted 2 phases of coal block auctions, paves the way for another round of auctions. Uncertainty continues for the likes of JSPL, and the government is yet to take a call on 8 blocks under the scanner.
It's a one-time compliance opportunity which we are giving, which the government is giving to such people who have illegitimate or undeclared, undisclosed assets, including bank assets, accounts, etc. abroad.
The Black Money Bill in Lok Sabha, the Revenue Secretary tells CNBC TV 18 the government will give a one-time compliance opportunity to come clean, but adds this is not an amnesty, it includes a tax loss penalty.
The wait for clearance of the land acquisition bill gets longer. The government yet to take a call on proroguing the session and promulgating the land ordinance, which lapses on 5th of April. Finance Minister tells CNBC TV 18 the cabinet will take a call shortly.
Unseasonal rainfall, it's damaged the crop, and therefore yesterday I had an opportunity in Parliament to reassure the farmers.
Unseasonal rainfall has wreaked havoc across farmland, says the Finance Minister. Promises a large-hearted relief package, says the announcement will be made in a few days, but may not include a loan waiver just yet.
Financial Technologies promoter Jignesh Shah's assets, including a 46% stake in the company, to be auctioned, says the MPID court. This even as NSCL investors say they will not accept any settlement proposal made by Financial Technologies.
It's a choppy session on the Lal Street, with the indices seeing deep cuts. The Sensex cracks over 200 points while the Nifty slips below 8,600. Mid-cap stumble in day trade, the index losing 1.5%. Fitch's India ratings downgrades Reliance Infrastructure's debt rating to A+ from AA- after the Pipavav acquisition. Move will make it tougher for the company to manage its 21,000 crore rupee debt burden.
There was a gentleman agreement. Openly you said, in a week time the report has been done. Here will be there. Will be not answering.
The question is that the amendments made by Rajya Sabha in the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill 2015 as passed by Lok Sabha
now subject to correction. Ayes 117, no 69. Motion moved by Sri Tomar is adopted and the bill is passed.
Lobby is clear, sir. I'd like to thank all the honorable members for the cooperation they extended in whichever manner. It is their right, but I'm happy.
Well, the first part of the budget session is drawn to a close, and so far it seems to be shaping into one of the more productive sessions that we've seen in recent times. The government has managed to push through quite a few pieces of crucial legislation: the insurance bill, the coal bill, and the MMDR bill as well. A triumphant finance minister says that some pending legislations, like the black money bill, which have been tabled today, will be taken up once the session resumes after a month-long recess. Speaking to CNBC TV 18, the finance minister has also said that a council of ministers will take a view on the land bill, and that a decision on proroguing the session has not been taken just yet. He also hopes that the GST bill, which will be introduced post the recess, will be passed by general consensus. Here are the exclusive conversation with the Finance Minister, Arun Jaitley.
Thank you, Mr. Jaitley, for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. A historic day, a lot of legislative action that you've been able to manage from the insurance bill, land mining bill, as well as the coal mining bill. What happens now after recess?
Well, after recess, the Parliament obviously assembles for the second part of the session. And when it assembles for the second part of the session, we'll get an opportunity to discuss the balanced legislation. And we have our agenda quite full. We have our agenda in terms of the GST constitutional amendment, which I think is a big piece of reform in legislation. I had the meeting of the Empowered Committee of Finance Ministers today. I think it's moving quite well, and I hope that this will be passed by a general consensus in both houses of Parliament. After which we have to go through the individual legislations after the states ratify the constitution amendment once it is passed. We have the land bill which is pending. I have the Incomplete Companies Act alterations which were made by the Lok Sabha, which is pending before the Rajya Sabha. And there are some other economic legislations which are pending. I think we'll have our agenda quite full of economic legislations and other bills as far as the second part of the session also is concerned. Of course, there is the land bill. And I quite understand that the challenges in the land bill will be far more than the current three legislations which we passed. But I am one of those who firmly believe that the land bill is in favor of rural India. Without this law, to develop infrastructure in terms of rural roads, irrigation, rural electrification is not possible. To create highways which pass through rural areas, which are a part of rural infrastructure, electrification will not be possible. For housing, for poor and affordable housing, where there is a large-scale migration from rural areas to urban centers or to suburban centers, is not possible. And therefore, it's extremely important in the interest of people living in the rural areas that this bill be passed. The industrial corridor, as against the industrial hub, runs through rural areas. And wherever it runs through, there is going to be development on both sides of the road. It will be a narrow industrial corridor. The values of the rural land will go up because of development. Additionally, rural youth will get jobs in the industries located close by. So it's extremely important that this piece is passed, and we'll try and convince the opposition parties, as we convince them in the other three legislations, that they are in larger national interest.
But so far, what has happened? Do you feel confident you'll be able to convince the opposition? Because it's been...
Well, I have a faith in parliamentary wisdom. After all, the insurance has been passed, the mining has been passed, the coal allocations has been passed, and there's no reason why we should not be able to pass this piece of legislation.
This land ordinance is till 5th of April, is valid till then. Are you going to prorogue this parliament session? Any decision?
Well, this is a decision which the cabinet will take.
You've just come from a cabinet meet.
Yeah, there was no decision to this effect today, but there's a lot of time between now and the 5th, and therefore this is a decision which the cabinet will take.
So between now and the 5th, maybe we could see Parliament be prorogued or something else?
I can't presume anything.
Okay, fair enough. You've also just met with the state finance ministers. Have you decided who's going to head the council of ministers?
Well, we've had a general consultation, both collectively and individually. I concede we fixed up a wrong day for the meeting today for the reason that many state ministers are busy with their own budget sessions. And therefore, some of them I spoke to last night could not come because of their budget sessions. So we need to consult all of them and develop a larger consensus. I don't think this is a contentious issue. It should be a simple issue to have one of the senior ministers become the chairman of the Empowerment Committee.
The rumor is it could be Mr. Saurabh Patel from Gujarat.
Well, he is a senior minister. He's an experienced, and he knows the GST subject like the back of his hand, but there are many others also who know it.
Do you think you're on track to roll out GST by 1st of April? There's still many challenges left.
Well, I quite concede there are many challenges. There is a challenge in first passing the Constitution Amendment, then having it ratified by the states. Then there will be 3 supporting legislations which will have to be passed by the states, some of them also, particularly the ones which concern the states. Parallelly, we are getting the IT backbone for GST ready. So once all this is done, we need to put GST in place, and then we have to come to a revenue neutral rate so that the rate is not excessively high. Therefore, it should be a reasonable rate. And eventually, when more and more products come within the GST and evasion is avoided, the rate starts moving down gradually. So that's a responsibility which is there of the GST Council.
But it'll still be around 20% plus.
But I can't speculate at this stage.
Okay, it's also your first interview since the insurance bill has been passed. Are you expecting the floodgates to open? So far, we've seen Anuljit and Sunil Mittal make announcements.
Well, these are two of the important companies, and I'm quite sure the kind of interest the international insurance majors have been taking in this area, a lot of them would want to come in. And once capital flows into the insurance sector, which had been starved of a lot of funds, will probably make a headway.
Mr. Jaitley, you made a lot of announcements around pension in your budget. Could that be the next area we might see some action on FDI?
Well, as far as the legislative hurdle is concerned, it's over. Because pension coexists with insurance. That's the legislative mandate. So when insurance moves up, the pension itself will move up. Now, how do we implement that will have to be seen. In any case, you see, it's a part of any growing society and a society where market economy has a lot to play. To convert that society on the principle of social security from a pensionless society into a pensioned society. So I have gradually thrown this idea in the present budget. So in the present budget, as far as the weaker sections are concerned, we've announced a pension scheme. And the pension scheme is that you invest when you are working, a modest amount, and you get a pension when you retire. After you, your spouse gets it. After both of you, the entire corpus goes to the family. So it's a saving, plus it's a social security. Plus it's an inheritance. The second step that I took, which I think is a major step, which will suit self-employed people, self-earning people, middle classes, that I give a big tax incentive up to 50,000 rupees a year for whoever invests in the National Pension Scheme. And therefore, if you start investing now, and my advice to most people, particularly youngsters entering the job market or professions or trades or self-employed people, is start putting in money every year into the National Pension Scheme. It's giving very attractive rates of interest. I'm told it was close to 11%. And you get a tax rebate. And once you are old and not in a working condition, you'll get a sizable amount. And that money is all yours at the end of the day.
Correct. The other budget proposal has to do with the RBI. You know, the money market powers being taken away from the RBI, given to the market regulator, the Monetary Policy Committee. Where do things stand? There are certain fears that is too much being taken away from the RBI.
See, RBI is a time-tested institution. And therefore, the government has full confidence in the ability of the RBI. And therefore, the question of taking away any significant powers away from the RBI, it doesn't arise. Whatever steps we take, we do it in consultation with the RBI. The RBI governor has been in touch with me. And the finance bill will be taken up before Parliament. So you'll have to wait for an answer to your question only then.
But the government bonds, will that stay with RBI?
Well, you wait for the finance bill to be taken up for discussion.
Anything about the committee that you can tell us?
No, I think we've made the announcement, and therefore now in the passage of the finance bill, you'll have to wait for the final word on that.
How concerned are you about unseasonal rainfall and agriculture?
I think it's a challenging situation. It's unseasonal rainfall. It's damaged the crop. And therefore, yesterday I had an opportunity in Parliament to reassure the farmers. Now, teams are being sent to every state. Additionally, the three ministers in the Ministry of Agriculture are going to be visiting each of the states. So they'll get a first hand, they'll comfort the people there. And then immediately, you have interministerial groups which sit together and then give recommendations on how the farmers are to be compensated. We are going to take a very large-hearted view as far as the problem of the states is concerned. The states also are now enriched. States have a lot more money than before. And I'm sure collectively we'll be able to look after the interest of the farmer. But the damage to the crops and its consequential effects will also be there. So in terms of, it could impact on inflation, it could impact on certain shortages, but then we have a surplus as far as food grain is concerned. And therefore we can cope up with the issue of shortage quite comfortably. But we'll see what impact it has on on other issues.
How immediate is immediate? By when do you think you'll actually have to, the states will have to tap into their disaster funds, or the centre will have to tap into its?
Well, I think all this has to be done within days. It doesn't have to be done within months.
Within days, we could actually see some action, monetary package going on. I'm going to end with the most contentious issue again, which is the land bill. Do you think there could be any changes in the ordinance that was promulgated last year? And what the proposal has been so far?
You see, that ordinance has already undergone a change.
One change.
Because in the Lok Sabha, some changes were suggested by the government itself after consultation with farmer groups. And those have been already incorporated in the bill as passed by the Lok Sabha. And now, since they've been incorporated in the bill as passed by the Lok Sabha, we'll have to, this bill will now go to the upper house. And therefore, if any of the opposition parties has any valid suggestion to offer, which makes sense, we are always open to consider it. But I think if they adopt a stand that come what may, we will not agree, then it's a difficult situation.
If you'll pardon me, Mr. Jaitley, I know I said last question, but I remembered another one to do with divestment, a very ambitious target which has been set out in the budget. We couldn't achieve the FY15 one. I know we're just within days of closing that. How feasible is it? How realistic is it? And also this news coming out that how certain sick PSUs are going to be closed.
Well, people will have to improve the efficiencies of PSUs. The taxpayer can't be charged taxes merely to fund losing businesses. You can do it up to a point, you can't indefinitely do it. And as far as divestment is concerned, it's challenging, but we'll try and achieve it. Please don't forget that last year the amount which we divested, even though we started late, is the highest ever in 1 year. And therefore there's no reason why we should not beat that target.
Well, that's the news coming in from the Finance Minister. As he was mentioning, the government will work out a relief package for farmers, but government sources have told CNBC TV 18 that this may not include a farm loan waiver at this stage. Instead, the government will release money from the State Disaster Response Fund after the assessment of damaged crop is complete. A decision to release funds from the National Disaster Relief Fund or the NDRF is likely in less than 14 days. Now on to specifics. One of the big victories for the government in this parliamentary session has been the pushing through of the coal bill. Rajya Sabha has of course cleared that today, and that has now legalized the 2 phases of the coal auctions that have just been concluded. Coal Secretary Anil Swarup had earlier told CNBC TV 18 that the next round of coal block auctions would be subject to the letter and spirit of the new law, meaning the next round of auctions are likely to begin in the last week of April. Speaking exclusively to CNBC TV 18's Anshu Sharma, the Coal Minister Piyush Goyal said that the coal bill's passing was historic, and he added that the country has now set a new paradigm of transparency as far as distribution of natural resources is concerned.
The Mineral Development Fund will also apply to the coal mines, and a similar protection, some part of the royalty going for the local area development, particularly for the tribals, the Adivasis, the local area people will be there in all the coal mines. As regards the changes because of this bill, I think it's a very historic bill, because now no power on earth can give away natural resources which are truly meant to serve the poor, serve the people of India, can never again be given away in a discretionary, non-transparent fashion. The country has set a new paradigm of transparency and honesty, something which Prime Minister Modi is very passionate about. He is committed to the nation that he will end the corruption and there will be absolutely honest and transparent distribution of natural resources. This is a major step towards that direction. I think the country now can rest and be happy and sleep in peace that their natural resources will henceforth be protected.
this district mineral fund will be allocated under the law, or you will be creating a rule? And also, how much implication will it have on the power companies as well as consumers? Because ultimately it will be driven down to the consumers. Coal India will pass it on to the consumers.
Well, the impact is very nominal, and I think to encourage local area development and to ensure that the tribals' interests are well protected, this nation will not grudge that little small cost.
Piyush Goyal reacting to the coal mine bill that was passed through the parliament today. Now for details of the Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Bill. The bill cleared Lok Sabha after being passed earlier in the day in the upper house. Despite noisy protests, a select panel of 19 Rajya Sabha members approved the bill with 2 amendments, while 4 submitted a dissent note. The upper house voted against the CPM's motion to send the bill to a select panel once again. The BJP and 7 other parties voted in favour of the bill. Now, votes against the bill came from the Congress and the left, while Janata Dal United members decided to stage a walkout. And the big highlight of the MMDR bill is the District Minerals Fund, which has been created for the welfare of the people of the area where the mining takes place. Existing miners will have to pay a sum equivalent to the royalty amount, while the amount will be 1/3 for minerals, which will be auctioned. Bhupendra Yadav, the select panel chief of the MMDR bill, told CNBC TV 18's Rituparna Bhuyan that the District Mineral Fund clauses in the bill will apply to any mineral on which royalty is being paid, including coal. However, state governments will decide on the exact rate at which these DMF payments will be made. Listen in.
MMDR जो है एक्ट, उसमें डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड का प्रोविजंस है. सो ये तो MMDR वाले मिनरल्स में लगेंगे ही. विल दैट आल्सो अप्लाई टू कोल? विल द कोल माइनर्स आल्सो हैव टू पे एज पर द DMF रिलेटेड नॉर्म्स? क्या कोल माइनर्स को पे करना पड़ेगा?
In MMDR Act, it said that wherever the mineral royalty will come, the 1/3 of that royalty, up to the 1/3, and it is depend upon the state government, which will go to the district mineral fund. So that is the amendment of MMDR. So the all category of minerals where the royalty will come, definitely it will go to district.
And this includes coal as well. So coal miners will also have to pay to the district mineral fund as per the formula prescribed in the select panel report.
The mineral and it's a surface mineral which is regulated by that, but it's coming under the definition of mineral, so it's come under the provision of district mineral fund.
After the bill becomes an act, we have to publish what is called the rules by which the auction will take place.
Right.
And as you have seen that everybody wants to say that you must consult the states.
Right.
So therefore, even if we publish it today, we need at least 2-3 weeks to consult the states.
Right.
So therefore, it may take some time.
Right.
All these things are under preparation.
Right.
So I'll not be able to give you a timeline.
But will it happen within this year itself? Auctioning can the state starts?
Oh, of course.
And states will have to do the auction, sir?
Everything under the MMDR Act is by the states as far as the MMDR minerals go. Everything.
And miners will have to take a hit because of the district mineral fund, sir?
Well, if you think of a hit, why not I put it this way? Today the mining sector is not producing. So therefore when it starts producing, a certain amount will come to the state government.
Right.
So therefore whether look at the hit, I would think that the production will start, so everybody will benefit.
Well, that's the Mine Secretary there. The coal and the MMDR bills going through Parliament. Parliament now being adjourned till the 20th of April. Of course, there is uncertainty on the land bill. We are trying to understand what the government's thinking is going to be in order to take the land bill forward, repromulgate the ordinance, make some changes. We don't know as of now. But it's been a tumultuous week for our markets, with the Sensex and the Nifty as well as the mid-cap index ending the week as well as the day lower. We'll resume all the action on Monday morning. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.